just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly that name will never be the same to me. Maria.
This year, the music community is celebrating the centennial of Leonard Bernstein. He was born August 25th, 1918 and died in 1990. And I think, wow, we're celebrating this as musicians, but why isn't the world celebrating this man? He was a musical genius and an American composer. I ask my students and people that I know, what do you know about Leonard Bernstein? And they say, he wrote West Side Story. But did you know that he wrote much more than that? He wrote 3 symphonies, a mass, ballet, opera, operetta, orchestral pieces, symphonic dances, sonatas, piano works, film scores, and even more musical theater. He was a teacher, a composer, a writer, a poet, a musician, a pianist, a TV star, and he was a conductor. He conducted the New York Philharmonic from 1958 to 1969, and from 1969 till his death, he was the conductor laureate. He also conducted symphony orchestras all over the world. His daughter, Jamie Bernstein, wrote a book called Famous Father Girl. It chronicles her life of growing up and also how she grew up under this famous maestro. He was quite a character. There's some wonderful stories about famous people, make you laugh, and also why and how he wrote some of his music. And also I zeroed in on the Chichester Psalms. If you're only familiar with West Side Story and you want to hear some other of his music, listen to the Chichester Psalms. He said about the Psalms, the most accessible B-flat major-ish tonal piece I've ever written. The Psalms were written in 1965 after the dean of the Chichester Cathedral commissioned them. He wrote a letter to Bernstein and said, could you write some music for my music festival and have a hint of West Side Story in it? That's a lot of foreshadowing there because that's what happened. The Psalms are in 3 movements, and each movement uses the text from 2 Psalms. They're a lot of fun to listen to. They incorporate modern jazz and rhythms. They're short, so that's a good thing if you want to hear them. The text is in Hebrew. They're scored for orchestra, chorus with men's and women's voices, a boy soprano, 2 harps, and lots of percussion. They are fun to listen to, and you will like them. I'm not going to pick apart these psalms like you're going to take a test in a music class. I just want to tell you why I like them and what you need to listen to when you hear them. This first movement uses 2 psalms, Psalm 108, Awake, Harp and Lyre, and 100, which is Make a Joyful Noise. It opens with a bang. He invites you to this party. Then it's followed by a 5-note motif. Here is that 5-note motif. And these notes right here, that's a minor 7th. It's an interval. In music, an interval is the space between notes. The number 7 is real important in Hebrew numerology, which brings me to the body of this piece, which is in 7/4. That's a meter that's not even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Prior to this, Dave Brubeck recorded Take 5, which was an uneven meter. Here this jazz piece is now, Leonard Bernstein puts it right in his song. It's wonderful. In this movement, listen to the men's voices and the women's voices trade back and forth with the melody until the end where they all make a joyful noise. Now the second movement uses the Psalms 23, The Lord is my shepherd, and Psalm 2, Why does the nation rage? The Lord is my shepherd. I have confidence in God. Why does the nation rage? What can I do here on earth that's God's bidding? The Lord is my shepherd. Why does the nation rage? This movement is structured with the Lord is my shepherd, the middle is the struggle, and the end is the Lord is my shepherd again. It starts with a harp, and the harp is supposed to remind us of King David the shepherd. And then this beautiful boy soprano, angelic, clear, innocent voice brings this gorgeous melody. It's very bluesy, brilliantly done. It can give you goosebumps, and sometimes it can make you cry. It's wonderful. Then the women's voices join with him, And all of a sudden, the men come in with, why? And it's a strong sound with a struggle. And at the end, that beautiful melody comes back and it rests to the end. In the third movement, the Psalms 131, My Heart Is Not Haughty, and 133, Together in Unity, are used. This movement starts with a prelude, and a prelude in music is an introduction. It's about 2.5 minutes, and the orchestra does this spectacular sound with struggle, and at the end of that, it just rests. Then this whole next part of this movement, it has men's chorus with a harp, the women sing with the orchestra, there's cellos, there's a solo quartet, and there's percussion. And it's this long thing that goes to the end, and it just tapers into the very long Amen. This movement is about push and pull, opposites. It's about anger and forgiveness, anger and understanding. It represents the man's struggle with conflict and faith. Here's what Leonard Bernstein wrote about this piece. These psalms are a simple and modest affair, tonal and tuneful and somewhat square. He was kidding, because there's a lot more to them than what you hear sometimes. Remember that in 1965, the U.S. was in turmoil. Kennedy had been assassinated earlier, and the civil rights movement was in full swing. After reading Jamie's book and reading more about Leonard Bernstein, I realized that he was passionate about bringing people together. It didn't matter your politics, religion, your age, where you were from, and what you desired. He wanted people to be united, and he did this with his music. The Chichester Psalms are his plea for peace. Hey, wait, I got more to say about intervals. Tritone, anyone? The tritone is all over the Chichester Psalms. It is an interval, a space of 3 whole steps. It's a raised fourth. Now here's a fourth, and here's a tritone, raised fourth. Here's a fifth. It's called the devil in music because the church banned it, because they said you can't play that kind of a tone or sound in music. That doesn't praise God. You got to do perfect intervals, fourths and fifths. But this tritone makes you feel really weird. It's really cool because today tritones are everywhere. The Beatles use it, Jimi Hendrix, bossa nova, jazz, heavy metal. Everyone uses the tritone, and it's an important part of chords. That's for later. But listen to this. That's from Maria from West Side Story, and that tritone symbolizes Tony's anxiety about not being able to love Maria as he wanted to. More on that later in another Mad Music Jam. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me what you like about Leonard Bernstein's music. Thanks for sharing. I'll be back soon with more Mad Music Jams.